Hello and welcome. Have you ever wanted to talk about something really cool you did last weekend? Or maybe a movie you saw yesterday? Well, today we're going to get really good at exactly that. We're going to look at the past simple tense.
So let me just ask you straight up. What did you do last weekend? Just think about it for a second. How you answer that question is exactly what we're going to explore today.
To see how this all works in a real situation, let's just listen to a quick chat between two people. I'll use a couple of different voices, just so it's super easy to follow along.
What did you do last weekend? I watched a film and went hiking with my friends.
Nice. I stayed home because it rained. I listened to music and read a book.
Sounds relaxing. Did you enjoy a book?
Yes, I did. It was really good.
So, did you notice something that all those sentences had in common? Yep, they all used the past simple tense. And as you can see, we use this tense to talk about actions that are completely finished, things that happened in the past, like yesterday or last weekend. They're done.
All right, let's zoom in a little bit. In that conversation, we heard the verb watched. Take a look. What are the last two letters of that word?
That's it. The ending is ed. Verbs that do this, that just add an ed to talk about the past, we call those regular verbs. Pretty simple, right?
Okay, but what about the verb went, as in I went hiking? Does that verb end in ed?
No, it doesn't. Went is actually the past of the verb go. Verbs like this one that have a totally special and unique form for the past, we call those irregular verbs. So let's break this down. In the past simple, you've really got these two main kinds of verbs you need to remember, the regular ones and the irregular ones.
And this shows the difference perfectly. So, for regular verbs, on the left, you just tack on that ed. Watch becomes watched. Easy. But then for irregular verbs, over on the right, the whole word changes, like go becoming went.
Let's look at a couple more, just to get the hang of it. We've got the regular verb listen becoming listened. Simple. And now for the irregulars. See becomes saw, and do becomes did. For these irregular ones, you just got to learn their special past forms.
Awesome. So now that we know about these two types of verbs, how do we actually use them to build sentences? Let's check out how to make positive statements, negative statements, and of course, questions.
This chart here lays out the rules perfectly. So for a positive sentence, you just use the past tense verb, like I watched a film. But, and this is super important, for negatives and questions, we bring in a special helper word, did. For a negative, it's didn't plus the base verb. For a question, we start with did, then the person, and then the base verb again.
Okay, let's jump back to our little conversation for a sec. Remember the question, did you enjoy the book? Look really close at the verb enjoy. Is there an ed on the end of it in this question?
Exactly. It doesn't. And that's because the word did already tells us we're talking about the past, so the main verb can just relax and stay in its original base form. The same thing happens in negative sentences with didn't.
You are doing fantastic. We've gone over a lot, so let's just do a quick recap of the most important things to remember.
Okay, so here are the three big rules. Number one, for regular verbs, just add ed. Number two, for irregular verbs, you got to remember their special past form. And number three, this is the key, for questions and negatives, you always use did or didn't, and then the original base verb. No ed.
So here's a perfect example of a positive sentence using a regular verb. I watched a great film yesterday.
And here's what a negative idea looks like. She stayed home, right? So we can say, she didn't go hiking last weekend. See? We use the base verb go right after didn't.
And that's really it. That's the past simple. You now have all the tools you need to talk about the things you've done. So, I'm going to leave you with this final question. What did you do yesterday? Go on, try to answer it using what you just learned. Thanks for joining me.